Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Ridiculously Lame Wrestling Show. We're coming at you every Thursday from now until WrestleMania and beyond, bringing you the news in AEW and WWE. And this show is going to be fantastic. My name is Tony Squares. As always, I'm joined by a man who's been covering wrestling for 10 years, now a writer for Sportskeeda, Mr. Robert Lentini. And man, we got a big show today. Revolution recap. We're talking about D-Bry versus Ospreay, Okada and the Young Bucks. We're talking about The Rock and Roman Reigns versus Cody and Seth, as well as the Gunther Gauntlet match, and who we think Mercedes Moné's first opponent should be in AEW. A chock-full show. But the curtain jerker, my friend Bob, the curtain jerker for this week. This is the first week in our lives that Sting is not an entity in professional wrestling. How does that make you feel, my friend?
Well, it makes me feel sad at first, but also it was time, and it was perfectly done. So there's not much to complain about. We'll get into that match in detail. But how does it make you feel not having Sting in AEW anymore? He was 29-0 in that promotion. I couldn't believe it when I saw that stat.
Yeah, it was, I mean, it was really a magical run when you're looking back on everything. They did a great job with the video package leading up to Sting's entrance during AEW's pay-per-view, and it was chilling. It really brought me really emotional. And you see him go for so long, for literally, I'm not lying, and as long as we've been alive, he has been not just a guy, but like the guy in many promotions in wrestling. And he finished with a real banger. Let's jump right into it. The Revolution recap. Sting's last match. We had all these things happening. That was the only match, by the way, that me and you predicted incorrectly. Was we thought Sting would go out on his back, and we heard news after the fact that Sting wanted to lose that match, but was convinced by Tony Khan and Darby and the Young Bucks that he should go out on top and have that feel-good moment in a career where, if you look back on how he exited some other promotions, never really ended with a feel-good moment. So he went out on top. His sons are out there doing stinger splashes in all the looks from his past career. It was truly wonderful. How did that make you feel, my friend? You hate the Young Bucks, but you had to enjoy that match.
I did, and just to piggyback off your point about that opening video package, I got teared up, man. And I'm not a huge, I didn't grow up loving Sting. That just wasn't my life, but I respect the man. And that video package was so well done. His entrance with the Suns coming out first, them hitting stinger splashes all throughout the match. It was perfect. It was perfect on Sting's part. It was absolutely perfect. The Young Bucks did it well too. And we said that we wanted the Young Bucks to win. I said that I wanted the Young Bucks to win because I didn't want a tournament. Well, we're getting a tournament, but it is what it is. But Sting went out on. I think it was perfectly done. They convinced me that Sting should have won that match the way it was done and the way the ovation he got. I wish the cameras didn't cut off at the end in the middle of the speech, but
That's a little weird.
other than that, it was expertly done, a perfect send off for Sting. And just when you look at his time in the promotion during his short stint in WWE right before then, AEW handled it so much better. He felt special. He felt important every time he was on the screen, and I'm actually going to miss him. He was one of my favorite parts of Dynamite. So sad to see him go, but it was time, and he went out on the right note.
I agree with you there, and I do believe this match, or the spots in this match that they built to, are really perfect. I truly enjoyed the Young Bucks doing the, I love you, I'm sorry, and then them saying, I don't love you, you deserve this, whatever. They're doing the super kick, and then Sting hulks up afterwards. Ric Flair taking a super kick over the body of Sting. I thought it was perfect. I was worried about Ric Flair being in this match somehow, and I thought he was used perfectly as well. I really loved every single bit of it. The big talking point, other than saying goodbye to Sting, however, was the Darby spot from the top of the ladder inside of the ring, doing a senton bomb into an actual pane of glass over some chairs and bleeding profusely after the fact. I guess he got 12 stitches in his shoulder. I don't know how it was just 12. And there were plans. They've talked about this, how they had doctors on the scene. They went over this spot before the show. There was a plan if Darby couldn't continue, all that stuff. Do you feel this was necessary for him to do this spot in this match?
Well, I mean, of course it wasn't necessary, but it was epic. I will give them that, and I'm not going to complain. They went through the protocols. Apparently some people got injured, some fans. I don't know if that was true with the glass.
There was glass shooting into the stands.
I love that response by AEW. It's like, we put a little warning on the screen before the show. Don't worry, nothing you can do about it. Deal with it.
Splash zone of glass.
I went to a wrestling show. I wasn't counting on getting a shard of glass in my forearm, but all right, thanks. Darby Allin, look, we'll just touch on this now. We cut a promo on Dynamite too. Right, he's going to climb Mount Everest at the end of this month. That cannot be lost at anyone. He did that death-defying stunt before his trip to Mount Everest, like right before. Hey, let me do something ridiculous right before I get ready to. I don't understand his thought process, but he loves this business, will do anything for it. And some people get offended by people taking huge risks. I admire it, honestly, because I wouldn't even make it up the ladder. I would climb down. I have no idea how he did that, how he has the balls to do that.
Let me ask you this. Would you, as a wrestling fan, want to see a spot like this again? Like Mankind coming off the top of the cell. We're never going to see that again. This particular spot, would you want to see this much of a death-defying act again? With this real-life potential danger?
No, because Darby's the type of guy that will keep trying to one-up himself. And someone has to say, this is enough. That was enough. Go climb Mount Everest and just live in the woods for a little while, and we'll see you in a few months. But
I'll say, as the AEW fan on this podcast, it was a miraculous spot, and it will live in our memories forever. And as it was happening, I was thinking to myself, I don't want to see this. And I don't care if that makes me a wuss. I don't care if that makes me a wimp. I don't want to see this much of real life chance of danger. There's no reason that needed to be a real pane of glass. It could have been sugar glass, and we would have still been wowed by it. I just don't. I was truly scared for the man, and I don't think that. It's tough because there's a level of, I guess, kayfabe that we watch as fans. We know that this is a planned event. We know that there is a winner and a loser that is decided before they even walk out. We get that, but we are still putting that aside and letting ourselves be lost in the moment here. And when this happens, talk about it's still real to me. Damn it, that was that was genuinely scary, and I don't think I'd want to see something like that ever again. But Sting went off fantastically. Kudos, man. Tip of the hat. Like I was truly amazed by the whole thing, and they did a great job with the send-off. Let's move on to the other big match, the big change that happened, or I guess it wasn't a change, but sort of the swerve, to put it in a way here. Samoa Joe, Swerve Strickland, Hangman Adam Page. Joe retains, which we thought he would. He does get the tap out of Hangman. Still unknown whether Hangman was tapping out early so Swerve couldn't win. I like how they were playing into that storyline. And now we move forward to Dynamite, where Swerve comes out first thing, that gives a great promo. Joe comes out and answers him with a great promo. And then Adam Cole comes out and says, Wardlow's fighting you next week. Do you like the road we're going down? Did the right man win in Samoa Joe? Do you like the road we're going down where Wardlow's getting his shot this early and Swerve is just there while Hangman is, quotes, suspended?
Well, the right man certainly won with Samoa Joe. You can't give that man a transitional run with the championship. He's too important to that company. He's come through in a time of need, taken the championship and run with it, give him a few months with it. I don't like where they're going with Wardlow. I don't like giving him this title shot this early. Just because how they're doing it, it seems like they're having him win it for Adam Cole is the storyline. We have Adam Cole sitting there in a wheelchair, and he's saying Wardlow's going to bring the title home to where it belongs, and he points at himself. So once again, Wardlow feels like he's stuck in a role like another MJF role where he's like second fiddle doing the bidding for someone else, and I do not like that. But Swerve Strickland's a babyface now. He proved that last night on Dynamite, so I like where they're going with Swerve Strickland. I don't know what they're going to do in the meantime while Hangman's gone, but Swerve Strickland has established himself as a babyface and could be the face of AEW in a couple months, or he could win the title at Destiny. We'll see where they go with it. But what were your thoughts?
By the way, I hate that pay-per-view name, Destiny, but I agree. The Wardlow winning a title shot and then cashing in it immediately for next week. I understand it's a big show, the big business show, but I just don't. I don't quite. I mean, he's not going to win. So how do you make him lose and keep him on this push of being so strong? There has to be our favorite word here, chicanery involved. And I don't know how that's going to come out in the end. But again, we're building to Swerve versus Joe, and I'm very excited for that.
Yeah.
Speaking of building, now we're moving on to Dynamite, some more AEW news about the future, touching on what they've done in Revolution. We got at the end of Dynamite, Ospreay having another great match. Again, this guy, the Takeshita match and the match he had against Kyle Fletcher. Strap in, folks. We are going to be having a heck of a run by Ospreay in this company. But then D-Bry comes out, Daniel Bryan, and they face off. And I thought for a company that does not do production stuff well, they ended on the shot of those two guys pacing each other, and behind them was the sign on the big jumbo screen for Destiny April 12th or whatever it was. Obviously, this is what they're playing forward to. You are a man who is a huge D-Bry fan.
Yes.
And you have been very angry that this man seems to lose every time he's in a big match on a pay-per-view. Every title fight he has, he loses. He lost another one to Eddie Kingston in another really good match with a great finish. The handshake, I thought that was well done. Obviously, we're going to get D-Bry Ospreay here, and Ospreay ain't losing that one. But are you excited to see this match, or are you more sad that D-Bry again is going to get a big profile loss?
Well, I mean, I know Bryan Danielson's going to lose to Will Ospreay at Dynasty, and he lost to Eddie Kingston, and I knew he was going to lose to Eddie Kingston. I just think he's decided that this AEW run, I'm never going to win a title. It's all about putting over everyone else, working with people I love. It's okay, but he's a generational talent in the ring. He's one of a kind. So I just would have liked to see him get a run as any champion. But I would have loved to see him grab that AEW championship. He deserves it. He could run with it. It would bring eyeballs to the product. But, Will Ospreay is the future of AEW. And I think we've already seen that just in the limited time he's been there. His match at Revolution was off the charts. The guy is just effortless in the ring. Nothing looks difficult for him. If something goes wrong, he just does this one move and we forgot about everything. He's just effortless. He makes everything look easy. His match with Kyle Fletcher, I thought was over about 15 times. It was like 20 false finishes at the end of it, but it just kept going. It was like 10:02. I'm like, is this over? 10:05? Nope, not over yet, but it was great. And I was glad it went on that long because Kyle Fletcher is another name that I didn't think anything of when he first showed up. Now I'm interested in what he's going to do. What is he, an ROH champion? I'm sorry, I don't pay attention to that. But
it's too many belts.
He's a champion of some sort, but he's Will Ospreay. I think they're priming him to win the AEW World Championship at All In 2024, whether that's against Samoa Joe, whether they give Joe a lengthy title reign, gives Swerve Strickland maybe a shocking loss, maybe Hangman Page returns and screws him over again after his suspension. They could be going in that direction. I think they might be going in that direction, but I think that Will Ospreay is the future of AEW, and him winning the title at All In 24 at Wembley is where they're going. And I'm just
well. Let me ask you this. This wasn't part of the sort of rundown here, but the way you bring it up, obviously, I agree that we're building towards Will Ospreay in a big profile match, probably for the belt at Wembley, which isn't that far off. If you could future book yourself here, who in the current title picture of AEW, who do you want that match to be? Ospreay versus blank.
Jeez, I don't know. Is he with the Don Callis family or not? That's what I don't know. So I don't know what if he's a babyface or heel. So I don't know. But I would actually like to see Ospreay versus Joe. I think that's a totally different dynamic, just different styles, and Ospreay could use like Joe as a springboard, if you will, and bounce off him. It could be a great match. But there's Ospreay versus Strickland, Ospreay versus Hangman. The beauty of someone like Will Ospreay is he's so talented. You give me a name, he's going to make that match work. So whoever they want to have champion, it come August 27th or whenever All In 2024 is, put Ospreay on the opposite corner, and it's going to work out great because the crowd's going to want to see Ospreay win. So anyone. My answer to that question is absolutely anyone, and it's fine because you have Will Ospreay.
Speaking of limitless talent, let's go to the next big reveal, big moving forward that happened on Dynamite. The Young Bucks come out. They suspend Hangman Adam Page. They kick Kenny Omega out of the Elite with, by the way, a fantastic decision by them to not know why he's missing. I think that is pure shithouse heel work. That is fantastic. And then they're about to pull a big, attack on somebody. Kingston comes out. There's all this big fighting. And then Okada comes out. You hear the coin drop, and Okada comes out and joins the Elite. I could not have pictured this going any better. I think this is the perfect marriage because Okada, for everything he does, he's not good in English on the mic. And so that's going to be tough for him to get over. The Young Bucks are. You know, the Young Bucks are great at building stuff and talking through a promo and talking through a match, doing those backstage segments. And if Okada is just the silent killer, that is the ace of that group, I am so excited for this corporate elite that we are getting. How did you feel about this reveal? Do you like the pairing? Are you excited for the future?
I'm very excited about the future for Okada. I did not see this pairing with the elite coming. I thought they would bring him in and get lost in the shuffle just because you're like, as you said, he's not great with English. And that's a problem with some of the stars there who don't speak English. They get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
They don't have the right pairing with the right manager. Okada with the Young Bucks caught me so much off guard, and I absolutely loved it. I couldn't describe how much I loved it because I have not been fully invested in the Young Bucks heel turn. That has been a little too goofy. This still was a little goofy with the giant fake grins and the double handshakes with Matthew and Nicholas Jackson. And they before I forget, they also parodied Tony Khan last night doing the announcement with the awkward stiff. That was awesome. Stiff posture and just totally no excitement in their voice with a giant grin on their face. They nailed
no inflection, just straightforward. I've never taken a public speaking class in my life. Energy, yeah,
that was brilliant. This won me over. This got me to the point where it's not just the Young Bucks standing there annoying me. Now they have Okada there, and he's one of the best in the world. So it's an overflow of incredible in-ring talent. We got Ospreay, Okada. The promos are where we got to find a way. But you got the in-ring stuff down, and then Young Bucks can serve as like the mouthpiece for Okada during these promos because they are good at being insufferable. I will give them that. They are fantastic at that.
I'm extremely excited. We'll talk about the tag team tournament if the Young Bucks are going to play into that later when we know what the bracket looks like. But as for this pairing going forward, man, I cannot wait. And if Eddie Kingston is the first fight for Okada, I don't care who you put in the ring against Okada. I think it's going to be a fantastic match. I'm very excited to see how that plays out. But that's enough AEW talk for now. We'll get to some other AEW stuff later, but we cannot let WWE go by because we are on the road to WrestleMania for those guys. So let's dive in now to the biggest match, the main event of WrestleMania, or what will be the main event. It seems we have the 2 nights of WrestleMania decided between Rock, Roman, Cody, and Seth, and what it's all going to look like. Explain to me what the stipulations are or have been decided in this world of WWE.
Well, so The Rock acknowledges Roman Reigns on this past Friday SmackDown, and then he issues a challenge to Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. They haven't accepted it yet. They have to show up on this Friday to accept it, but everybody knows they're going to accept the challenge. But it's the challenge is the tag team match for night 1. If The Rock and Roman Reigns win, the Bloodline can interfere in the undisputed WWE Championship match between Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes on night 2. They can do whatever they want. Solo Sikoa can interfere. The Rock can interfere.
Right.
Jimmy Uso, whatever the hell they want. Paul Heyman, whatever they want. But if Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins win, they are barred from ringside. So no interference. That's what happened last year at WrestleMania 39, if you remember. Solo Sikoa.
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes with the Samoan spike.
Roman Reigns happened in every Roman Reigns match.
Yeah, exactly. But that is the stipulation. So a lot on the line. So a huge match on night 1.
So regardless, no matter who wins the tag match, we're getting Roman and Cody twice in 2 nights in 2 different types of matches.
That's huge.
Which is fantastic. Let's future book this thing. Well, we got a lot of time on the road to WrestleMania, but let's quickly future book this thing. Who do you think is going to win that match? What will the stipulation be on night 2?
Well, I think that they're going to have Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins win that match. And then it's going to be, yes, that's my prediction. And it's going to be just mano-a-mano, no interference in night 2, because I think they're building towards The Rock resenting Roman Reigns for having him acknowledge him as his tribal chief publicly, because The Rock was just about to say, if you smell what the bloodline is cooking, and Roman Reigns stops him and basically forces him to acknowledge him. He said, I need you to do this for me. So The Rock was hesitant. He didn't want to do it, and then he did it.
Didn't he put up an L, not a finger?
Right. That's still going on. I don't know what the deal with that is, but he's doing that intentionally now to screw with people. We have no idea. Do you have any thoughts on what the L means, or is he just
Well, I
Goes
think,
to
I
show
mean,
he's
Paul
not in
Heyman made a
uniform.
show of looking at it
Yeah,
this time, which I liked. So they're definitely playing into it. I don't know if it was a mistake the first time and now they're just rolling with it, but it is a nice, easy way to say I was never acknowledging you. I was calling you a loser in Rudy
Right.
Poo rock fashion.
Right.
But I will say, to go against your future booking, I think this is easy. Bloodline wins this tag team match, and we have interference in night 2 because you have to get The Rock on night 2 as well. If he's going to be a part of this storyline, you have to get him out there. And what's the point of Cody beating Roman mano a mano? Isn't there a bigger story in Cody beating Roman and fighting through all the adversity of all these other people? But he also gets back some of the people that have been screwed by Roman in the past. Maybe guys like Jey Uso and Seth and Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens come out to defend Cody against all these big pops. It is WWE, my friend. This is the land of distractions and big pops. You don't think that's a possibility?
It's a possibility, but I think they want to be Cody Rhodes, ultimate baby face. He wants to win that match on his own. I think they'll have a conversation maybe beforehand. Seth Rollins like, hey, if you need me out there, I'll have your back. And Cody's like, nope, I'm doing this one on my own. I think that's something what's going to happen at night 2. And I think if Cody Rhodes wins, The Rock could show up after the match, or he could just think of that. If Roman Reigns loses the title, The Rock could have a claim, well, I'm actually the tribal chief. And then they can go into that storyline that they wanted to do at WrestleMania 40 for a full year if they want for WrestleMania 41, building The Rock versus Reigns. That's my only reason, is I think you got to put the title on Cody Rhodes sometime. So you got to do it now. And then you have the storyline with The Rock and Reigns after that, and Cody Rhodes.
You don't think Rock
whatever
could
else.
turn on Roman on night 2 and be the one that costs him the title? Because yes, you
That's
want
true.
Cody winning as a babyface and finishing the story on his own. But again, this is WWE. This is Hulk Hogan. This is The Rock making himself a bigger part than he is. If The Rock is the reason Roman loses, then Cody still wins.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. There's a million different ways, but I like your idea too with having Jey Uso get involved, but he's going to be facing Jimmy Uso. Looks like at WrestleMania, they're building towards that. So yeah, but a huge segment this Friday. We'll have a lot more clarity, have a lot more idea of where they're going. If they're going to accept the challenge, maybe there's more dissension between The Rock and Reigns this Friday night, but we'll have an idea. But just a huge challenge, just an epic 2 nights of WrestleMania. The Rock, like you said, that main event for night 1, and then the match everybody's been waiting for a full year for, Reigns and Rhodes on night 2. Just great build so far for WrestleMania.
Let's stay on the road to WrestleMania because we are going to get a clearer picture in another title match. And this is this week's It's Still Real to Me, damn it.
It's still real to me, damn it.
Bob, you have, we've talked about this before. You love Gunther. You love everything he's done with this championship. And now he is in a gauntlet, or he isn't in. There are 6 competitors in a gauntlet match to see who will challenge him at Mania for that belt. Walk me through who these 6 competitors are.
Okay, so we have Chad Gable. We discussed that last week.
Yep.
Sami Zayn, Ricochet, Bronson Reed, Shinsuke Nakamura, and the Judgment Day's JD McDonough.
So what you're saying is we have Chad Gable and Sami Zayn.
Exactly. And Bronson Reed attacked Sami Zayn this past Monday night on Raw, but I don't see that happening either. So basically, it's just a 2-man conversation here. Chad Gable and Sami Zayn, you're right. Sami Zayn was in the main event of night 1 of WrestleMania 39 with Kevin Owens. He beat the Usos to win the tag titles. Completely has fallen off the radar. Kevin Owens has moved to SmackDown. He's looking like he's going to be challenging for the U.S. title against Logan Paul at WrestleMania 40. What the hell is Sami Zayn going to do if he doesn't win this match? So I'm a huge Sami Zayn fan, have been that for years. He's an incredible talent in the ring. He can cut a promo that gets you emotionally invested as well, but it hasn't been clicking for the past few months. It just, he's returned as the 30th entrant in the Men's Royal Rumble, and it really hasn't mattered. And that's really unfortunate because he was over as hell as the honorary Uce, that whole storyline at Elimination Chamber last year, but fell short and then is just kind of fallen off the map after losing the tag titles. But I would love to see Sami Zayn win, but the story is Chad Gable is getting revenge for his daughter crying. Gunther calling him a terrible father. He said he's going to win the title, and he means it, and he's determined to do so. And it would be an epic moment for Chad Gable, a man who's never had a moment in WWE. You cannot take that away from him. And I just think the story's perfect. The underdog dethroning the ring General Gunther after the longest Intercontinental Championship reign in WWE history. I think it comes to an end at WrestleMania 40 at the hands of Chad Gable. What do you say to that? Would you like to see Chad Gable as the Intercontinental Champion, or does anybody else on that list jump out at you? Ricochet, you big Ricochet guy.
I would like to see JD McDonough. No, I'm just kidding. I'm right there with you. We talked about Gable last week, and I really want to see him finish this. And I think, I mean, these gauntlet matches are kind of tried and true, where Chad Gable might be the first entrant and has to survive all 5 dudes. But the Sami Zayn thing you bring up is interesting to me, because when he came back as the 30th entrant in the Royal Rumble, I don't want to get anybody mad at me, but talk about lack of a pop. Like, that just did not jump off the page at all. And that's a man that should mean something in WWE, and he does not anymore. And if he loses this, you're right. What does he do? What is the storyline for Sami Zayn moving forward? And I don't know if he has one heading into WrestleMania, but I agree with you. I think this has to be Chad Gable. Yeah, and it's going to matter to you. You're going to smile about it. It's still real to you if Chad Gable does
exactly. Yeah, I'm a storyline guy. You get me invested with a good storyline, you got me, and that's exactly what's going on with Chad Gable here. But Sami Zayn's been talking about this path. The path of WrestleMania is going to present itself. I don't think it is. I just think he's going to be in like a throwaway match this year, and that's
Andre the Giant Battle Royale, baby.
Yeah, that's stunning in a calendar year to go from the main event to just scrambling along, trying to find a match at WrestleMania after main eventing last year is stunning to me.
Well, let's move forward. We're talking about WWE, what's coming up for them this week. Let's move forward to what we're going to be talking about next week. Next Wednesday is the big business in Boston for AEW. And we know Mercedes Moné is returning. That's why they are doing this whole entire match. It's going to be awesome. I love what Sasha Banks did in NXT and WWE, and I cannot wait to see her as Mercedes Moné in AEW. Interested to see, again, like with all these returns, with Okada, with Ospreay, interested to see how that persona plays out. Are they a good guy? Are they a bad guy? Are they a wrestler? Are they more of an entertainer? Like, how is this whole... Does she team up with anybody in AEW? There's so many ways this could go, ways this could be, but we know, or we should know, in Boston, we are likely going to get her appearing and either attacking someone or appearing in the ring and being challenged by someone. So I ask you, in AEW, there's a lot of women wrestlers that aren't really being used right now. Who do you want Moné's first feud to be with? Not necessarily first opponent, because they might feed her, some nobody so she can get a win and pop the crowd at some point. But who should this first feud be as we build to Destiny? Who would you like that to be? Who would you like to see in that role?
Well, as you said, there are a lot of options. The AEW's women's division is they need Mercedes Moné. They need a big star. So this is a huge signing for Tony Khan. I think you have someone who hasn't been there in ages, someone that the fans love to hate and just they haven't utilized for whatever reason. I think you bring back Britt Baker finally, and she confronts Sasha Banks during her debut as an epic heel move right away. Just right away get into it when Sasha Banks we think will arrive at Big Business next Wednesday.
We know will. We know will.
We know. Yeah. They got the boss town in the background. They've given it away. But
they got the money signs in Boston. We know it.
We know. But I think Britt Baker would be a good choice just as an entertaining first feud, maybe some promos, because that's what's been missing in the women's division. Get some promos, some storyline, people invested.
Yeah, no, I would love to see that. I would love to see that, and that would be my pick too. But just to be different, another flavor here, based on what they've been building so far on recent television, it seems like Willow Nightingale is fighting Julia Hart for that belt, and they're going down that way. But we see between Willow Hart, Stokely Hathaway, and Chris Statlander that they are on the line of becoming bad guys. They're grabbing the chain in their fist and debating using it on Little Riho. Like we don't know what that eventually that turn is going to come where Stokely wins them over or they go against Stokely. I really think I would love to see Mercedes Moné come out and be interrupted by Stokely trying to get her on his team, and we get Chris Statlander, who is one of my favorite wrestlers in all WWE, AEW men and women. I love Chris Statlander, the wrestler. I would love to see an evil Chris Statlander against Mercedes Moné to start us off in this feud, because again, Statlander can survive that loss. Whoever faces Mercedes Moné is going to lose, and I think Statlander can survive that loss. And we're already building into a storyline that is currently developing on AEW television. I love Britt Baker, and I would love her to be in this role, but I think Statlander turning heel on Mercedes Moné could be a lot of fun. What do you think about that one?
I love that idea too. And Statlander is an interesting person to me because she defeated Jade Cargill and then that didn't really do much for her. And I thought it was going to be like the big thing. So maybe putting her in this storyline with Monet, a more experienced talent, maybe they can get something more out of her, make her look like an even bigger star, even in a loss, because Statlander is incredibly talented, and I want to see more for her in AEW. And you're right. I think that would be a great first feud for Monet too. Statlander and Monet, possibly at Destiny.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. Let's move on to another AEW star that we might not see at Destiny, and we might not see for a while. Sammy Guevara, one of the pillars of AEW, as MJF put it, has been suspended reportedly because during his match with Jeff Hardy a few weeks back, Jeff Hardy performed a move and got concussed. And Sammy Guevara, there was some confusion in there where we still went with the planned finish, which included Sammy Guevara hitting Jeff Hardy in the head with his knee. And reportedly, the match was supposed to have changed or have stopped or have done anything. And this was not supposed to go on when we're in quote-unquote concussion protocol in AEW. Thank you, John Moxley. Sammy Guevara suspended, though. Do you care? Was this the right move? Was this too harsh? How do you think this should have been handled, or was it handled correctly?
Well, I can't say it was handled correctly because it happened like a month ago, and we're just finding out about it. And the doctor and the referee weren't suspended. It's not Sammy. If Jeff Hardy was concussed, the doctor or the referee got to stop the match.
I need to interrupt you because you just brought up a point that has nothing to do with Sammy Guevara. Speaking of the referee wasn't suspended, why the heck was Bryce Remsburg on TV this week? He just got the crap beat out of him by Hangman Page. How do you not have him miss a week and like returning a neck brace? Play into that. Come on. Yeah. Sorry. Keep going.
It's a great point. That was one of my favorite moments of Revolution.
It's a great moment.
Hangman Page just losing his mind and clubbing Bryce in the back of the head several times. That was great. Well, with Sammy Guevara, he's been involved in multiple instances now. He had the fight with Andrade backstage well back. And he seems a little bit reckless. Darby Allin is reckless, but somehow more controlled than Sammy Guevara. Sammy Guevara he leaped off the top rope and came straight down on Jeff Hardy's face during that match as well. He's just got some. Maybe that was the suspension.
Not his first time injuring a Hardy either. He's thrown chairs at Matt Hardy's face and all that, everything else.
Well, I think that's what's going on. I think that's why the suspension may have been necessary. It might have been like, hey, we've given you 15 slaps on the wrist here, and you're not getting the point. So we're going to suspend you. But I just didn't understand the way it was handled, the way it came down. A month later, we find out about the suspension, and nobody.
I think he may have been suspended longer than when we found out. But I hear you. And I mean, I'm one of the wrestling fans that loves Sammy Guevara. I think Sammy Guevara can be the future. I think Sammy Guevara can be, I mean, he's not as good as Will Ospreay, obviously, but I think Sammy Guevara can do anything you want him to do in the ring. I thought his run with Jericho for as long as he was with Jericho really helped him sort of become the wrestler that he is. And I enjoy every pay-per-view for AEW that doesn't have Sammy Guevara on the card is a loss for me, because I think that guy, no matter what match you put him in, if he was in the Meat Madness match, it would have been stellar. You know, I just think Sammy Guevara is a great wrestler. And so I hope they get things figured out. I do not want to see Sammy Guevara out of AEW. I do not want to see Sammy Guevara not on television. And we need to find a way to build Sammy Guevara back up to being a really great heel when he was a real bad guy. I loved all the crowd truly hated him, and he's a great wrestler. So I hope he comes back, and I hope he comes back quickly. But that's a lot of show for us, my man. We got to end now with the gimmick matches of the week. This is when we go through and give you little quick hits on what we saw from this week that sort of fit into the gimmick matches that we would build if we were doing a promotion. So I'm very excited for this. First gimmick match of the week goes to you, my guy. We have the Big Show turn of the week.
This is going to be an interesting one. Apollo Crews returned after months of being off television to face Andrade, who returned at the Royal Rumble, and this is his first match in the company. Nobody cared about either guy. Apollo Crews just got zero reaction, just like a Big Show return. Absolutely nothing after months being off air.
Okay, sorry, Apollo, but the Big Show turn of the week is yours, the debut of the week. We had Christian Cage beat Daniel Garcia, and then came out and we were watching Killswitch beat up on somebody else, and everyone gets involved and starts doing crazy things. And who returns but Adam Copeland? And they will be fighting each other in Toronto the week after next on Dynamite. I loved this because I loved this feud. I loved Adam Copeland coming back and looking like a real badass. I loved Christian running through the halls and how they captured that on camera, stealing a vehicle from a guy and driving off. I am very much excited for all of this. That's my debut of the week, is the return of Adam Copeland. But we also have, for the first time ever, the Jobber of the Week.
Yes, this week it's going to Zion Quinn for his incredible effort this past Friday night. Exactly. He's been in the company since 2018, and he debuted on the main roster this past Friday and lost to Braun Breaker in 7 seconds, and then posted an apology to all his fans on social media after the match. So I guess he took it really, really personally. So Zion Quinn, you win the inaugural Jobber of the Week. Congratulations, sir.
And we have another inaugural gimmick match to give out. It was the Mankind spot of the week. This is the spot that goes a little bit too far. And yes, we talked about Darby earlier. We're not giving him that. Instead, to me, it's going to Hook and what he did with Brian Cage on Dynamite. They had an FCW, FT, whatever that title's called that doesn't matter, that Taz created. They had one of those matches, and pretty much it's an anything goes match. And Hook really started hitting Brian Cage with trash can lids, with kendo sticks, with other things, directly on his head over and over and over again. And again, I know this makes me a wimp, a wussy wrestling fan. I get that. I don't want to see headshots, continual headshots against any wrestler in any capacity whatsoever. And I know Brian Cage is a literal mountain, but you can hit him on the shoulder and on the back and be just fine and get the same story across. So the Mankind spot of the week goes to Hook and his trash can. Let's get to headlines. This is when we end the show and we tell you what we're going to be talking about, what the wrestling world is going to be talking about at this point next week. Bob, the WWE headline of next week is?
Well, I think Drew McIntyre is going to ruin the segment tomorrow night with the Rock, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, and Seth Rollins. And I just think the headline next week is Drew McIntyre is the best thing going in WWE at the moment. I think he's surpassed The Rock and Roman Reigns in the storyline. The way he is continually egging on CM Punk, keeping that rivalry alive while going for the World Heavyweight Championship, just impressive. So Drew McIntyre, the best thing going in WWE right now. That's my headline.
I like that. The AEW headline of next week is pretty simple, my friend. Ospreay, Okada, and Mercedes Moné, we are officially in a new era of AEW. You forget that for as much as we rag on what they do in this company, they're still very, very young. And they started from legitimately scratch. And the fact that they are this far already is pretty impressive. And these three guys, or three wrestlers, Okada, Ospreay, and Mercedes Moné, truly have a chance to take this company to the next level for the next few years. I believe we will be looking at the first 5 years of AEW. We'll label it the Sting era. And then the day Sting retired, we entered into the Ospreay, Okada, and Mercedes Moné era. I am very excited for the future. And that's what next week's headline is going to be. Last thing before we leave, congratulations to Paul Heyman getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. And I mean, we have to talk about what Ryback said about him. So for this week in Ryback,